Journey from competitive swimmer to supermodel and actor to fitness enthusiast, including victories at Ironman and Ultraman and running from Delhi to Mumbai, has been an incredible adventure filled with the thrill of the unknown at every turn. Looking back, I feel grateful for pushing beyond fitness boundaries, which keeps my spirit youthful. Hi, I'm Milind Soman, and today I'm excited to be here with Dr. Rakesh Devan, an expert in cardiometabolic health specializing in diabetes management. Our goal today is to deepen our understanding of glucose management alongside cardiovascular risk assessment and management. This discussion will illuminate the vital connection between glucose levels and heart health. Doctor, my first question. We often hear about heart risks tied to diabetes. Could you help me understand the effect of glucose control on heart risk? And what is the ideal HbA1c range?
This is something we talk about a lot with our patients. Diabetes and consistent high blood glucose levels over time damage your blood vessels, increase the cholesterol levels, contribute to inflammation, raising the risk of heart attacks and stroke. So, keeping your blood sugar in a healthy range is crucial. And one of the main things we track is HbA1c, which reflects your average blood glucose over the past 2 to 3 months. So mostly we aim for an HbA1c below 7%. In younger patients without other complications, we might aim a bit, tighter HbA1c, which is less than 6.5%. But in older adults, in whom tight control might pose a risk, like causing low sugars, we might accept a slightly higher HbA1c. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. Could you shed more light on heart risks and tools to measure them?
Of course, Milind, when we talk about heart risk, we are referring to the chance that someone might have a heart attack or stroke within a certain time frame, usually over the next 10 years. So that risk isn't based on just one factor. It's a result of combination of things like your age, gender, um, blood pressure, cholesterol levels, smoking status, whether you have diabetes or hypertension, and duration of diabetes or hypertension, kidney function, and even ethnicity of family history. So to integrate all these um, uh, factors in a systematic and clinically meaningful manner, we utilize several tools such as the Framingham Risk Score, which is called FRS, Systematic Coronary Risk Evaluation Score, 2, which is called Score 2, ACC, AHA, CVD Risk Calculator, and one more, it's called QRSK3, etc. Among these, QRSK score, K3 score is widely adopted tool in many healthcare settings, and it also been assessed in Indian ethnicity population, making it more predictable and reliable tool for the Indian population. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. My next question. What does a risk score signify? What insights can we draw from a 10% QRISK-3 score?
That's a great question, Milind, and one that can really help people understand that what their numbers mean. Well, QRSK 3 score is a practical way to estimate someone's 10-year cardiovascular risk. So a QRSK 3 score is your estimated sorry chance of having a cardiovascular event, like a heart attack or a stroke in the next 10 years. So if your score is 10%, that means that you have a 10% chance of having a heart related issue within the next decade. So simply said, in a group of 100 people with the same risk factor as you, 10 are likely to have a heart attack or stroke within the next 10 years. So now this doesn't mean that you are guaranteed to have an event. It just helps us understand, well, you have fallen the spectrum. So it's a call to action, not a cause for panic. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. My final question is, how can we actively reduce our QRISK 3 score, and what aspects are within our control?
Milind, this is where it gets empowering because there's a lot we can do. While we cannot change things like age or family history, many of the factors are going into history. Many of the factors that are going into QRSK 3 score are within our control. For starters, making small, consistent lifestyle changes like physical activity, maintaining a healthy weight, eating a balanced diet can help. So importantly, quitting smoking or reducing number of cigarettes per day also has a lasting benefit on the heart health. So managing blood pressure and lipid levels under control are also making a big difference in the overall risk. So medications can help get these numbers right. So the main thing is to work with your clinician, build a plan that works best for you. Thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing these. I hope this discussion inspires clarity about diabetes and heart risk reduction. Please feel free to reach out to the doctor for further insight.